have created a Power BI report on procurement and spend analysis, and it gives you a flavour of what we can do. So what I've really done is within the data, model the data. The two measures that we're looking really at is cost and prior year cost. You could obviously use budget, so you could have cost versus budget or current versus prior year, but you can see here that in creating the actual dashboard part of it, I've got different, so I can different what I call dimensions or departments. So I can view by the IT department. So I can see, oh, look, the cost this year and last year for the IT was fine. Let's look at one of the groups. So cost last year and this year looks okay. Again, I can look at it here by state. So I can look at New South Wales and I can see what the top vendors were in New South Wales as compared to going to the Northern Territory. And there's one vendor in the Northern Territory. So the interactivity is really, really good here. Again, when we talk about that DAR methodology, you can see here I've got my dashboard and this is what we're going to look at. So what an end user would look at right at the beginning, and then we go into the analysis and the table. So if I look through here, I can look through it by direct and indirect costs. Well, maybe let's look at some of the approvals. Let's look at this year and last year by some users. We can look at Adam. Well, look, Adam has something interesting, but let's look at Mr. Benjamin Kim. So we can see with Mr. Benjamin Kim that his cost this year is significantly larger than last year, and we want to know, well, why? We can see that there's a lot of indirect costs, and it's for Queensland. So let's keep on looking and look at the analysis. What you can see here is with my analysis, I've got bar charts of my science groups as compared to my overhead department, so I can see them differently. And I can look at different areas. So I can look at the HR and go, oh, look, HR, there's a lot of transactions in April for HR. Or we can look at direct and indirect costs. So we can say for direct costs, there looks like within May, there was a lot of direct costs here for the overhead part, for the overhead departments. If we go back to our friend Benjamin, we can see, oh my goodness, in April and in June, he made large purchases. So we want to say, well, what does that look like? Let's compare those purchases to what happened last year. So I can go now to a table, and what I've done is I've created sort of like a heat map table where we can view by vendor the purchases and any differences in purchases. And you can see when we look at April, there's a huge purchase there for 1.3 million. And when I've rolled over it, you can see that I've actually got another visual that sort of pops up as a tooltip that can show me what the prior year and the current year cost is. So there's a 3,000% increase there. And we similarly, if we go back to our July, well, I think it was June, we can go and roll over that and we can see that there's a 100% increase because there was no prior year cost. And essentially this heat map is saying where there's an increase, it's orange, where there's a decrease, it's blue, which looks good. So if I just deselect Benny, you can see for all of the vendors a sort of heat map there, a table. So we want to look at, so let's look at what those transactions were made out of for Benjamin Kim. We can actually right click here and go drill through. Again, drill through to the detail, and we can see the transaction detail that related to that exact cost. Okay, coming back, I can even go back to my analysis and I can see, oh, was that the April amount? Let's look at the July amount. I think that was a different amount. Let's drill through into that. And that July amount was essentially a number made up of these. I think that was the same one. Let's go back to the other one, this amount. From a spend analysis, you can look at your spending in different ways, by department, by category, by vendor, and enables you to view your data in a different way and analyze it and see trends and make decisions based upon that.
Now, Greg, can you create ad hoc reports and share them with colleagues and so on?
So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to create like a dashboard from the reporting based upon Benjamin Kim. And one of the things that I didn't show you was I've created some of a prior year and this year cost analysis scatter chart, and you can see for Benjamin Kim, he has he is right in an outlier relating to that. And so we could even look at a particular department. So if we look at finance, we can say, oh, well, not only should we look at Benjamin, who's an outlier, for the finance department, Nicholas is someone we should look to and talk more and review his data. And so this is another type of visualizations we can look at. So let's create a dashboard for Benjamin. So we have Benjamin selected. What I want to do is I want to show this year. What I want to do, Chris, is I wanted to create a dashboard to send to you so we can discuss Benjamin Kim and his spending. So I'm going to create an NFP example. I'm going to create a dashboard. So I'm going to show this year's costs. I'm going to create a new dashboard with it. I'm going to pin last year's cost so we can look at last year's cost. And I want to pin the trend. Okay, what else can we go through? Let's go through into the analysis. We still have him pinned, and we can look through just and pin this analysis. And let's pin that one as well. Okay. So what I've done is created a dashboard, and a dashboard is essentially a superset of the Power BI report, but it enables us to do other great things. So if I then go to the dashboard, you can see all of the data that I've actually pinned. So I can see cost, this year cost, last year. I can actually add within here a tile, and I'm just going to put some data in here. I can go, need to discuss Benny's spending this year. Okay, just going to add a tile, put it in a bit of bold, and apply that. And so what we can do is we can mix them around, change them, redo this sort of tile. But what I can do then now is I can actually comment it. I can say, and I can talk to my colleague Chris, and I can go, Chris, can you look at this? I think we need to talk to Ben. Okay, and so that comment would post it, and Chris will receive an email, Power BI email, saying that I've commented on this. Alternatively, I can share this with him. So I can go find Chris, and then go, can you look at this? And then I've got a little bit of, so I can share that. So that sends an email to Chris, and if he doesn't have access to the particular workspace, Power BI workspace, this will give him access to that report. And so there are...
You've created an report from different canvases, and you've made some comments, and you've shared it with a colleague just like that. So that's fantastic, Greg.